singing.
Drug counsellor Richard Smith believes that substance addiction is a disease that takes everything from you, then comes back to kill you. A former addict himself, Richard has dedicated the last 20 years of his life to assist others in their battle with addiction.
Recently, he's been helping long-term drug and alcohol user David Morris clean the toxic substances from his body. Today, Christy Malthouse catches up with David, who's finished the live-in treatment program and is taking the first tentative steps in his new sober life.
All right, well, why don't you show me around your new place?
Sure, Christy.
It's 5 months since we met David Morris. He struggled with substance addiction for 23 years. But today he is proudly showing us around the halfway house he's moved into as part of the next stage of his recovery. He spent 3 months in intensive rehab and is now on the path to taking his life back.
Your room?
This is my room. Got my keyboard, guitar.
The most important things.
Cannabis, opiates, alcohol. David's temptations were many. But since we met him on day 1 of his recovery program, he has remained clean. The result's evidence in his physical and mental state. From this...
hopefully not, I would hope it isn't the end of the line.
To this.
I've always enjoyed cooking. My menu had become a little bit limited in the past few years, just sort of ate to survive.
The disease of addiction is a complex one, often misunderstood and stigmatised by society.
It's physical, it's psychological, it's emotional, it's social and it's spiritual. You have to heal all 5 aspects of it or else you're just going to, be like some of the people who do short programs and go back to using.
Richard Smith is Program Director at the Raymond Hayter Clinic. A former user himself, Richard speaks from first-hand knowledge when counselling clients. He says, like all milestones in the program, moving from the retreat to the halfway house is significant, but still just one more step on the long road to recovery.
The first 12 months is really about learning the basic psychological skills to stay drug-free. They need to learn how to, when they're faced with a situation, to automatically think of not using.
And that is something David faced soon after moving to the halfway house. He came out of the retreat just before Christmas and had to deal with the festivities and excess that most of us take for granted.
On New Year's Eve, I had a party with some other people in recovery, and that was really interesting. It was the first New Year's Eve I've ever been to sober as an adult.
Wow.
Well, I think, I don't know how many Australians could say they've been.
Well, that's true.
It was amazing how most of the good feeling really comes from people. I'd always thought it's actually I need the alcohol icebreaker and all that sort of stuff.
Little baby, it seems like years since we've been home.
One constant through David's recovery has been music. It was there in the depths of his addiction. It was there as he battled both mentally and physically to cope without the substances that had controlled him. And it's there now, as he rediscovers the joys of a clean life.
Here comes the song. It's alright.
Sort of hand-eye coordination, getting back into physical, getting in touch with my feelings, just the changing of feelings.
Today is significant for David. As part of his integration back into society, he put down a deposit on a new guitar. Today he collects that new guitar, a metaphor perhaps for his new life.
What's been the easiest thing or the best thing about the transition?
Having a bit more responsibility and taking on my own life.
But still, David doesn't let himself think too far ahead. And we've heard throughout his recovery, his disease can only be beaten one day at a time.
It's like, you're on a desert island and you've got to build a fire, get some food. Those are the basic things. It's like living skills.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and, you don't build Rome in a day.
Yes, Yes, and hopefully we're going to have David and Richard Smith in the studio to have a chat.
Fantastic of him to bare his soul like that, isn't it?
It is. I think
Good to see him looking so well too. Yeah.
Absolutely. To open yourself up like that, and especially when there's a camera in there, to help other people, I think is pretty extraordinary. And also, if you are battling an addiction or you know someone who needs help, please jump onto our website. There are some contact details there for programs to help addicts. Back in a moment.